The alarm blared throughout United Earth Defense Station Sentinel at 0600 hours. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Admiral Frank Douglas rushed from his quarters to the command center, his heart racing. He had been waiting for this day, for 20 years, but that didn't make it any easier. "Status report," he ordered as he entered the command room. Lieutenant Susan Moore looked up from her console, her face pale. "Sir, a ship just appeared at the edge of our solar system. It's huge, bigger than anything we've ever built. It's moving toward Earth." Douglas nodded and straightened his uniform. At 57, he was one of the most respected officers in the United Earth Defense Force. His gray hair and the lines on his face showed his years of service. "Show me," he said. The main screen lit up, displaying the vessel. It didn't look like a ship made by human hands. It seemed to be both alive and machine at the same time. It glowed with strange lights that shifted colors and patterns no human artist would create. "Have they sent any messages?" Douglas asked. "No, sir," Moore replied. "They're just coming closer." Douglas walked to the front viewport. From here he could see Earth below, blue, green, and swirling white clouds, home to 10 billion humans who didn't know that aliens were approaching. His job was to keep them safe, but how could he fight something so advanced? "Sir," Moore called out suddenly, "they're sending a transmission now." The large screen in the center of the command room flickered. Then an image appeared that made everyone gasp. The alien was tall, with skin that looked like shiny scales in all colors of the rainbow. It had 4 eyes that blinked at different times. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "People of Earth," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zorth of the Galactic Council. We have watched your world for many years. We have seen your wars, your progress, and your first steps into space. The time has come for formal contact." The room was silent. No one moved. This was the moment humans had wondered about for centuries. First contact with aliens. "Your application to join the Galactic Council has been reviewed," the alien continued, though Earth had sent no such application. "Your species is young, wild, and could be dangerous. But we see your potential. The Council requires tribute to show that you accept our authority. You will give us your antimatter factories and destroy 70% of your space defense ships. You have 7 Earth days to agree. This is not a request." The screen went dark. The command center remained silent for several long seconds. "Did it just demand we disarm ourselves?" asked Commander Peter Ryan, breaking the silence. Douglas nodded slowly. "Contact the President immediately. This is beyond my authority." Within 2 hours, President Olivia Ward arrived at the secret underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. The emergency council room filled with 20 of Earth's most important leaders. Military officers in decorated uniforms sat beside scientists and diplomats from every continent. Ward was a tall woman with short brown hair who always spoke directly. She had led Earth's United Nations for 4 years. Now she faced her greatest challenge. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began. 3 hours ago, an alien ship entered our solar system. They call themselves the Galactic Council. They've demanded we surrender most of our space defenses and give them our antimatter technology. They gave us 1 week to comply. The room erupted in voices. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to negotiate. A few suggested immediate surrender. "Quiet, please." Ward raised her voice. When the room settled, she turned to Dr. Alan Nichols. "Doctor, you're our expert on possible alien contact. What are your thoughts?" Nichols was a small, nervous man with round glasses. He stood and adjusted his tie. "Madam President, the Galactic Council appears to follow a pattern we've theorized. They find developing spacefaring civilizations and establish dominance early. This demand for tribute, essentially asking us to disarm, is likely their standard approach." "So they've done this before?" asked General Patricia Reeves, her weathered face showing no emotion. "Based on how confident they are, I believe so," Nichols replied. "They're treating us like they've treated others before us." "And if we refuse?" Ward asked the question everyone was thinking. Nichols hesitated. "Unknown. In the brief historical data they shared last year through our deep space receivers, there's no record of any species refusing. The Defense Secretary, Bill Harris, leaned forward. So we either surrender our best defenses or face a war with vastly superior technology. Those are terrible options. Douglas, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Maybe there's a third option. We have 1 week. That's not much time, but humans have accomplished amazing things under pressure before. Admiral, what exactly are you suggesting? Ward asked. I'm suggesting we don't simply accept or refuse. We find an alternative no one has tried before. Douglas stood tall. Throughout history, humans have survived by thinking differently. When faced with a stronger opponent, we get creative. Ward nodded slowly, a small smile forming on her lips. Then let's get creative. I want our best minds working on this. Military, scientific, diplomatic, every angle. We need options beyond simple submission or suicidal resistance. And while we plan, added Ambassador Laura King, we should open communication channels, learn more about them, buy time. Agreed, said Ward. Admiral Douglas, assemble a response team. Dr. Nichols, I want everything you can tell me about the Galactic Council. General Reeves, quietly prepare our defenses, but no aggressive moves. As the meeting continued into the night, Douglas couldn't help but feel a strange mix of fear and pride. Humanity faced its greatest test, but if history had taught him anything, it was that humans were at their best when backed into a corner. 1 week to save Earth, he thought to himself. Let's make it count. The morning sun had not yet reached the underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains. 3 days had passed since the alien demand. Inside the most secure room of the facility, Chief Engineer Gregory Martinez wiped sweat from his forehead as he looked at the glowing blue plans floating in the center of the room. Only 5 people on Earth were allowed to see these plans. Project Genesis isn't ready, Martinez said, shaking his head. His black hair showed streaks of gray from years of stress. We need at least 6 more months to test everything. Dr. Elaine Foster stood on the other side of the display. The short woman with curly red hair was the smartest physicist on Earth. She had created the theories that made this project possible. We don't have 6 months, Greg, she said quietly. We have 4 days. The aliens will want their answer then. Martinez walked around the display, studying the complex patterns. This technology was supposed to help humanity join the galactic community. We designed it as a gift, not as a weapon or a threat. Plans change, Foster replied. We need to finish it now. The engineer sighed deeply. I'll need every scientist and engineer we have. They'll work day and night. Then let's get started, Foster said. She pressed a button on the wall, and the room's heavy doors opened. Outside waited 20 of Earth's best minds, ready to begin the most important work of their lives. At the same time, on the other side of the world, Ambassador Catherine Rogers was in a very different meeting. The United Nations building in New York City was quiet this early in the morning. In a small conference room, Rogers faced her team of 5 diplomats. Our job is to buy time, she told them. Every extra hour we can get will help our scientists finish their work. John Vega, her deputy, frowned. How do we stall creatures that are thousands of years ahead of us? They'll see right through us. Rogers smiled. She was tall, with dark skin, and had 30 years of diplomatic experience. We use the oldest tricks in the book. We ask for clarifications on their demands. We suggest cultural exchanges before any agreement. We talk about our decision-making process and how we need time to build consensus. We use every diplomatic delay tactic ever invented. Will that work? Asked Maria Diaz, the youngest diplomat on the team. It has to, Rogers replied. Every minute we gain might save humanity. Up in space, the situation was even more tense. Lieutenant Commander Kyle Bennett floated in the observation section of Space Station Freedom. Through the large window, he could see the alien ship. It was so big it blocked the stars behind it. Next to him, his team of specialists worked on portable computers. Anything? Bennett asked. Specialist Diana Wright nodded. She was a communications expert with a skill for finding patterns. Their communications are unlike anything I've studied, Before. But I think I'm starting to understand how they work. She pointed to lines of code on her screen. See these energy spikes? They happen every time they send a message. Can we use that somehow? Bennett asked. Maybe, Wright said. If we needed to, I might be able to disrupt their communications for a short time. It would be like creating static on an old radio. Bennett placed a hand on her shoulder. Good. Work. Don't share this with anyone else yet. We might need this advantage. As these secret preparations continued, President Ward faced a different challenge. She stood before 200 leaders in the United Earth Assembly. Cameras broadcasted her speech to every corner of the planet. People of Earth, she began, her voice strong despite her lack of sleep. 3 days ago, we received contact from an organization calling itself the Galactic Council. They have made certain demands of our planet. The hall remained silent as she continued. I cannot share all details at this time. But know this, we are exploring every option. We seek peace, but we will not surrender our right to protect ourselves. We face a critical moment in human history. What President Ward didn't say was as important as what she did say. She never mentioned Project Genesis. She never revealed the true plan. Instead, she spoke of diplomacy, strength, and human dignity. After the speech, the public reaction was mixed. On news channels around the world, people argued about what should be done. We should give them what they want, shouted one man on a popular talk show. They could destroy our planet. Never, replied another. Humans don't bow to threats. We stand and fight. Back in the mountain complex, Martinez and Foster made progress, but problems kept appearing. The containment field is unstable, Martinez said, pointing to a simulation that showed dangerous energy leaks. Foster studied the problem. Adjust the quantum matrix. We need perfect balance, or it won't work. As they worked, a secure call came through. It was Admiral Douglas. Progress report? He asked, his face looking tired on the screen. We're moving forward, Foster replied. But we're rushing something that shouldn't be rushed. Douglas nodded. I understand. But Ambassador Rogers can only stall for so long. The aliens are getting impatient. In orbit, Bennett received troubling news. Sir, reported Specialist Wright, the alien ship just launched smaller vessels. They're heading to major cities on Earth. Are they attacking? Bennett asked, heart racing. No, Wright replied, after checking her readings. They appear to be observation craft. I think they're just watching us. Bennett didn't like it. They're probably checking to see if we're preparing to fight. Keep monitoring them. As the 4th day since first contact ended, President Ward met with her closest advisors in the bunker. The mood was grim. 3 days left, said General Reeves. Are we ready? Project Genesis is at 70% completion, reported Foster over the video link. We're making progress, but it's not enough. Ambassador Rogers added her report. I've scheduled 3 more clarification meetings with their representatives. That might buy us an extra day, but they're getting suspicious. Ward looked at each face, then made her decision. Keep working. We won't surrender, and we won't start a fight we can't win. We need Genesis to work. As night fell across Earth, billions of people looked up at the stars. Many could see the alien ship as a bright dot moving across the sky. Most went to bed wondering if their world would survive the week. But in labs and meeting rooms around the planet, thousands of humans worked without rest. They were engineers, scientists, soldiers, and diplomats. They were humanity's best hope, and they refused to give up. The 7th day arrived with a bright, clear morning. In every major city on Earth, huge screens had been set up in public squares. They all showed the same image, the massive alien ship hanging in orbit above Earth. Today was the day humanity had to give its answer to the Galactic Council. In the underground facility, Chief Engineer Martinez looked at the small, round object floating in a special container. It was about the size of a basketball and shone like polished silver. Small blue lights pulsed across its surface in beautiful patterns. Is it ready? President Ward asked. She had dark circles under her eyes from lack of sleep. Dr. Foster nodded slowly. Project Genesis is complete. Not as tested as I'd like, but it works. You're sure? General Reeves asked, looking doubtful at the small object. As sure as we can be, Foster replied. We've created 50 of them. They're being moved to launch positions around the planet right now. Martinez touched the glass container gently. Think about what this device contains. The complete genetic code of every living thing on Earth plus all human knowledge, art, and science. Our entire world in a small package. And it will last? Ward asked. The power source is self-sustaining, Foster explained. It should work for at least 50,000 years, maybe longer. Ward took a deep breath. Then it's time for Phase 2. She turned to Ambassador Rogers. Catherine, you're up. Rogers nodded. My shuttle leaves in 1 hour. The Council has agreed to receive Earth's official response. And if this doesn't work? General Reeves asked the question no one wanted to. Voice, Douglas stepped forward. Then Earth's military will fight with everything we have. We've moved our civilian space fleet to the far side of Mars. If the worst happens, at least some humans will survive. Ward looked at each person in the room. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. 1 hour later, a small diplomatic shuttle left Earth. It carried Ambassador Rogers and a crew of 4. As they approached the alien vessel, Rogers felt her heart beating faster. The ship grew larger and larger in the viewport until it filled the entire view. It was enormous, like a floating city in space. They're directing us to a docking area, reported the pilot, trying to keep his voice steady. Rogers straightened, her formal blue uniform. Take us in. Inside the alien ship, Rogers and her team were led down long corridors that seemed to be made of both metal and living material. The walls pulsed with soft light. After walking for what seemed like forever, they entered a massive chamber. The room was circular with rising seats all around like a giant theater. In these seats sat creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human. Others were completely different. Beings made of gas, creatures with multiple limbs, entities that glowed with inner light. This was the Galactic Council. At the center of the room stood the scale-covered alien who had first contacted Earth, Ambassador Zorth of the Zolarians. Ambassador Rogers of Earth, Zorth's voice boomed. You come before the full council. We expected your military leaders to coordinate the surrender of your defenses. Have you brought confirmation that Earth accepts our demands? Rogers walked to the center of the room, keeping her face calm despite her fear. All around her, alien eyes watched. Some looked curious, others seemed hostile. I bring humanity's formal response to the Council's request, Rogers said clearly. She took out a small device and pressed a button. Above her, a hologram appeared. It showed a single object floating in space, the silver sphere they had created. This is our tribute, Rogers announced. We call it the Genesis Seed. Confused sounds came from the alien audience. Zorth's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Explain, demanded another council member, a being that looked like swirling purple smoke. Inside a clear container. The Genesis Seed contains the complete genetic information of every living species on Earth, Rogers explained. It also holds the entirety of human knowledge, our science, our art, our history, our music, everything that makes us who we are. She walked around the hologram as she spoke. It's powered by a quantum energy source that will last for 50,000 years. It can share this information with any advanced species that finds it. The aliens began talking among themselves. This was clearly not what they had expected. We did not ask for information or genetic material, Zorth said coldly. We demanded your antimatter facilities and most of your fleet. Rogers nodded. Yes, you demanded proof that we would submit to your authority. This is our answer. Her voice grew stronger. We will not submit. We will not surrender our defenses. But we offer knowledge and life instead of servitude. Zorth stepped toward her, towering over the human ambassador. You dare to refuse the council? We dare to offer an alternative, Rogers replied, not backing down. Even now, dozens of Genesis seeds are being launched from Earth. They will travel to different star systems. Even if you destroyed Earth today, our essence would survive. Other civilizations would find them. They would know who we were, and what you did to us. The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens rose from their seats, shouting in languages Rogers couldn't understand. Others sat in stunned silence. On Earth in the command center, President Ward watched the broadcast of the meeting. "It's done," she said quietly. "Now we wait." Lieutenant Commander Bennett reported from Space Station Freedom. "Ma'am, we've confirmed that all 50 Genesis seeds have launched successfully. They're using stealth technology. The aliens can't track them all." Douglas stood beside the president. "The seeds are spreading through nearby systems as we speak. Our insurance policy is in place." Ward nodded grimly. "And our defenses?" "At maximum readiness," Douglas replied. "Though we all know they wouldn't hold long against their technology." In the underground facility, Foster and Martinez watched the seeds' progress on their monitors. "It's working," Foster whispered. "The quantum trackers show all seeds are functioning perfectly." Martinez put his hand on her shoulder. "Now we hope the aliens care about knowledge as much as they care about power." Back on the council ship, the debate raged. Rogers stood firm as aliens argued around her. She couldn't understand most of it, but she could see the council was divided. Some seemed angry, while others appeared interested in the Genesis seeds. Finally, Zorth raised a hand for silence. "The council will deliberate on Earth's unusual response. You will remain here until we decide." As Rogers was led to a waiting area, she sent a coded message back to Earth. "Phase 2 complete. The seeds have been revealed. The council is in chaos. Now we wait for their decision." Around the world, humans looked up at the sky. The alien ship was visible even in daylight, a dark spot against the blue. No one knew if this was humanity's last day or the beginning of something new. 12 hours passed with no word from the alien ship. They were the longest hours in human history. In homes across Earth, families huddled together. On military bases, soldiers stood ready. In churches, mosques, temples, and other places of worship, people prayed. In the command bunker, President Ward paced back and forth. "Still nothing?" "No, Madam President," Admiral Douglas replied. "Ambassador Rogers' last message was 3 hours ago. She said the council was still arguing." Dr. Foster monitored the Genesis seeds from her console. "All 50 seeds are working perfectly. They're moving away from Earth at high speed." General Reeves studied the tactical display. "The alien ship has powered up several systems that might be weapons. They could strike at any moment." Ward stopped pacing. "If they wanted to destroy us, they would have done it already. The seeds are making them think twice." In the underground complex, Martinez watched energy readings from the alien vessel. "If they attack," he said to Foster, "we still have Plan B." Foster nodded grimly. Plan B was a desperate technology they had developed alongside the seeds. It was a quantum field that might, in theory, cut off the council ship from whatever dimension powered their advanced weapons, but it was untested and might not work at all. "Let's hope we don't need it," she replied. Up in space, Lieutenant Commander Bennett and his team kept watch from Space Station Freedom. The alien ship loomed large in their viewport, silent and threatening. "Commander," called out Specialist Wright suddenly, "I'm detecting a smaller vessel leaving the main ship." Bennett rushed to her station. "Is it hostile?" "No weapon signatures," Wright reported. It's requesting direct communication with Earth in the command bunker," the alert sounded. Douglas answered the incoming transmission. "This is Admiral Douglas of Earth Defense Force." The screen lit up, but it didn't show Ambassador Zorth. Instead, a different alien appeared. This one was smaller with pale blue skin that seemed almost transparent. Its eyes were large and completely black. "I am Representative Toril of the Tellarian Collective," the alien said in a soft voice. "I seek to speak with your leader directly." President Ward stepped into view. "I am President Olivia Ward of United Earth." The alien bowed slightly. "President Ward, I am coming to your world with a small delegation. We wish to speak face to face. May we land?" Ward looked at Douglas, who nodded cautiously. You may land at our international spaceport. We will meet you there. 2 hours later, Ward stood on the landing pad as the small alien ship touched down. Security forces formed a tight circle around her, weapons ready. The ship's door opened and 3 aliens emerged. Representative Toril led them. "Thank you for receiving us," Toril said with another bow. "The Council is deeply divided by your response. This has never happened before." Ward gestured toward the building. "Let's talk inside." In a secure conference room, the human and alien leaders sat facing each other. Cameras broadcast the historic meeting to every screen on Earth. "Your response is unprecedented," Toril explained. "For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council has followed the same pattern with emerging spacefaring species. They either submit and join under our rules, or they refuse and face our weapons." "And then?" Ward asked. "Those who refuse do not survive," Toril said simply. "But you found a third option. The Genesis seeds are remarkable." "They contain everything we are," Ward replied. "Our biology, our knowledge, our culture. Even if Earth were destroyed, humans would not be forgotten." Toril's large eyes blinked slowly. "More than that, you made knowledge your shield. You chose to spread life rather than surrender or fight hopelessly. This has caused great debate in the Council." The alien folded its 4-fingered hands on the table. "Some Council members want immediate action against Earth. They see your refusal as dangerous. It might encourage others to resist." Ward tensed, but Toril continued. "Others, including my people, are fascinated by the seeds. The preservation instinct you've shown is rare and valuable. We believe there is wisdom in your approach." "What does this mean for Earth?" Douglas asked directly. "It means we offer a compromise," Toril replied. "The tributary demand is withdrawn. Instead, we propose a treaty. Earth will remain sovereign. Your defenses can remain in place, but there will be limitations on human expansion for a trial period of 50 Earth years." Ward leaned forward. "What kind of limitations?" "You may colonize your solar system freely," Toril explained. "But travel to other star systems will require Council approval until the trial period ends. This protects both you and others while we learn to trust each other." The humans exchanged looks. It was far better than they had hoped. "And the Genesis seeds?" Foster asked. Toril's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "They will be honored. One will be placed in the Great Archive at the center of the galaxy, humanity's first contribution to the collected knowledge of spacefaring civilizations." 3 months later, Admiral Douglas stood in an amazing place he never thought he would see. The Great Archive was built inside an artificial world at the galaxy's core. The massive library contained the knowledge of 1,000 species collected over millions of years. Douglas watched as the first Genesis seed was installed in a special display. Aliens of many species gathered to witness the event. Beside him stood Lieutenant Moore, who had been on duty when the alien ship first appeared. "They didn't expect us to value knowledge and life more than weapons or power," Moore observed. Douglas nodded. "That's the thing about humans. We can fight when we must, but our greatest strength has always been finding unexpected solutions." Back on Earth, President Ward addressed the United Nations. "Today marks a new chapter in human history. Earth has been granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council. We are no longer alone in the universe." The crowd applauded as images of the Great Archive appeared on screens behind her. "We earned our place not through military strength or by surrendering our dignity," Ward continued. "We did it by sharing who we are. The Genesis seeds, created as a desperate gamble, have become humanity's greatest achievement. In schools across Earth, children learned about aliens and faraway worlds. In laboratories, scientists worked with alien counterparts, sharing discoveries. Ships from other worlds visited Earth, bringing trade and knowledge. And far across the galaxy, something unexpected happened. Word spread about the humans and their Genesis seeds. Several smaller species who had submitted to the Council for centuries began to question the old ways. They looked to Earth as an example of a different path, one where knowledge and creativity mattered as much as power. "Was this your plan all along?" Toril asked Ward during a private meeting a year later. Ward smiled. To change how the Council treats developing civilizations? No, we just wanted to survive. But humans have always been good at having unexpected effects on established systems. As Earth prepared to send its first ambassador to take a seat on the Council, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They had earned their place in the galaxy not as conquerors or servants, but as innovators who refused to be placed in old categories. The Genesis seeds continued their silent journey through space. What began as a defensive strategy became humanity's greatest gift to the stars, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful answer is not yes or no, but something entirely new.